Hey everyone, and welcome back to Talk Room. You ready for another deep dive?
Always ready.
All right, well today, we're hitting the open road.
Ooh, sounds fun.
Well, not literally, of course, but you know what I mean. You guys sent in some really cool material about road trip lingo, and I am so excited to dig into it.
Yeah, road trips, they're just packed with colorful language, you know.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So we've got idioms, we've got phrasal verbs. It's going to be a fun one.
I think so.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning, a road trip. You know, that exciting moment where you're packing up the car, getting everything ready, the anticipation is building.
Right.
What really jumped out at you in those early sections of the source material?
You know what I thought was interesting is how much the source material emphasizes the preparation phase.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's not just about, like, throwing some clothes in a suitcase and heading out the door, you know?
Right.
It's packing up the car, it's setting off on this adventure, and it's maybe grabbing a coffee a stone's throw away from home before you hit the highway.
I love that, a stone's throw away.
So evocative.
Yeah, and it's so perfect for those little last-minute stops,
Yeah,
you know, before you really get going.
absolutely.
And it's funny because those first few miles of a road trip, it almost feels ritualistic, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're really setting the tone for the whole journey. And I think the language we use in that phase
Right.
really reflects that.
For sure.
Like even using a phrasal verb like set off, you know,
Right.
it just sounds so much more dynamic and exciting than just saying start.
Oh, for sure. It gives a sense of purpose. Like you're embarking on something special, you know?
Totally. And it really emphasizes that it's not just a drive, it's a journey, right? And speaking of journeys, once we're on the road, the language definitely takes on a whole new vibe.
Totally. We start seeing words like fuel and rest stops. And of course, you can't forget about the trusty GPS, you know?
The GPS, our best friend on a road trip.
Guiding our way.
All right, but let's be real for a second. No road trip language
Mhm.
deep dive would be complete without acknowledging the fact that things can go wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the material even talks about breaking down in the middle of nowhere, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. And, you know, that's where I think the humor of road trip language really comes in. You know, even a breakdown can be an opportunity for adventure,
Yeah,
a story to tell later. It's all about perspective.
so true. And it just makes me think about the idiom, get the show on the road.
Class.
It perfectly captures that feeling of, okay, we've planned enough. Let's hit the gas and just see what happens.
Exactly. You know, enough with the preparation. Let's just go.
And that doing this thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, often involves encountering amazing scenery,
Mm-hmm.
historical landmarks,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even a few quirky roadside attractions along the way.
Right. All those visual elements that really kind of make a road trip what it is.
You know, I've always wondered about the difference between a landmark and a monument,
That is an interesting one.
because I feel like they both mark significant places, but a monument has this feeling of being grander,
Yeah.
you know? Like it was purpose-built to commemorate something really specific, whereas
Yeah.
a landmark could be anything like an actual feature, or even a local diner that's been around for ages.
That's such a great observation. I love that. And it just shows you how even simple vocabulary choices can reveal these like deeper layers of meaning, you know?
Yeah, and that's what I love about this deep dive. We're not just learning words.
Mm-hmm.
We're like exploring the stories behind them.
Right. And those stories often connect to the emotions we experience on road trips. Like take the phrasal verb look forward to, for example.
Okay.
It's not just about anticipation. It's about that like childlike excitement of what's coming next, you know?
It's like we're looking forward to trying that famous pie shop in the next town over.
Exactly. And it just reminds us that road trips are as much about the journey as they are about the destination.
And you know, sometimes the best parts of the journey are those moments when we venture off the beaten path.
Oh, for sure.
Like that idiom and just embodies that adventurous spirit, you know, that desire to find those hidden gems that aren't on every tourist map.
Right. It's about embracing the unexpected, discovering those unique experiences that make the trip truly your own, you know?
Yeah, could be a scenic overlook or a local festival or even just a conversation with a friendly stranger at a gas station.
It's all part of the adventure.
All right, well, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
Yeah, we have.
What stands out to you as particularly insightful so far?
You know what's really striking me is how optimistic all of this road trip language is. You know, it's full of phrasal verbs and idioms that express this excitement and this anticipation and this willingness to just embrace the unknown.
That's such a great point. It's like
Yeah.
the language itself is fueling our sense of adventure,
Yeah.
urging us to keep exploring and discovering new horizons.
Yeah, I love that.
And I love that we get to share it all with you guys.
Me too.
Yeah.
And that optimistic feeling, it really comes through when we think about the language we use to describe arriving at our destination.
Oh, yeah.
Reaching your destination. It's not just about checking something off a list. It's a sense of accomplishment. Like you've conquered all those miles and you've earned a little rest and relaxation.
Totally. And even a simple word like accommodation,
Right?
it takes on a whole new meaning when you're on a road trip. It's not just a place to sleep.
Yeah.
It's like a haven,
Yeah, a temporary home base. Exactly.
for exploring.
And then there's that feeling of checking in, finally settling into your space after a long day of driving.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the best feeling.
It's like a sigh of relief.
Yeah. And it's funny how those little rituals, like checking in, unpacking, maybe grabbing a local map,
Right.
they feel so grounding after hours of being on the road. Like re-entering civilization, but with a fresh perspective.
It's true. You see things differently when you've been on the road for a while.
Yeah. And that fresh perspective often leads people to take the scenic route,
Oh, the scenic route.
even if it means adding a few extra hours to the trip.
One of my favorite idioms, for sure.
It's not just about the scenery, though, is it?
It's about really savoring the journey,
Yeah.
embracing those unexpected detours and finding those hidden gems that you would totally miss if you were just focused on getting to your destination as quickly as possible.
I think it's a really great way to travel,
And the material you sent actually mentioned a study about how people who take scenic routes on road trips,
Interesting.
they report feeling more relaxed and rejuvenated even after they've returned home.
Wow.
Like those winding roads somehow leave a more lasting impression on us.
That's really cool. It makes you wonder if there's a connection between physically taking a winding road and, maybe taking a less direct path in life.
Yeah.
Maybe those metaphors are more powerful than we realize.
I love that idea. And it ties in perfectly with that sense of accomplishment we were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
because reaching your destination after taking the scenic route feels even more rewarding because, you didn't just choose the easy way.
Right.
You chose the most enriching way.
And that sense of accomplishment often comes with the desire to call it a day,
Oh, yeah.
acknowledging that you've had a full day of experiences and it's time to rest up for the next day's adventures.
It's like saying we've earned this, we've driven the miles, we've taken in the sights.
Yeah,
Now it's time to just relax and let it all sink in.
exactly. And, speaking of memories, I think it's important to remember that road trip language isn't just about the journey itself.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's about the stories we tell afterwards.
Yeah, we use all these colorful phrases and idioms to kind of recreate those experiences for other people.
Right, like you transport them to those dusty highways and those charming roadside diners.
We might say something like, we were just a stone's throw away from running out of gas, or we stumbled upon this amazing little town off the beaten path,
Exactly.
And those phrases, they become like shorthand for whole chapters of our road trip adventures.
It's true. And the more we use them, the more they become part of our personal stories, almost like souvenirs that we carry with us.
Yeah, like little linguistic mementos.
I like that.
And that's the power of language, right?
It is.
It has this amazing ability to preserve our memories and evoke emotions and connect us to those shared experiences that make life so rich.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great place to pause for now.
As we're wrapping up this deep dive into road trip language, I'm really struck by how much these phrases and idioms tell us about the culture of road trips.
It's like it's more than just vocabulary. It's like a whole way of looking at the world, that values adventure and spontaneity and that joy of discovery.
It's like the language itself is a roadmap guiding us to those experiences that make road trips so special.
And one thing that really stands out to me from the material you sent is the importance of phrasal verbs.
Oh, yeah, the phrasal verbs.
Those multi-word combinations that can be a little bit tricky for English learners sometimes, but they add so much richness to the language.
They really do. And it's interesting how phrasal verbs often capture the essence of an action in a way that a single verb just can't,
Right, like they just have that extra oomph.
Exactly, like breakdown, for example. It's not just about a car malfunctioning. It can also describe that moment when you just surrender to the unexpected,
Yeah, you let go of the plan and embrace the detour.
or set off. It's not just starting a journey. It's like launching yourself into the unknown with a sense of purpose.
Yeah, like you're ready for anything.
And then there's look forward to. It's not just anticipation. It's that pure excitement for new experiences.
Yeah, like a kid on Christmas morning.
It's like these phrasal verbs are like little engines driving our road trip adventures,
Useful that.
propelling us forward with this sense of wonder and possibility.
And what's great is that they're so versatile. You can use them whether you're planning a cross-country road trip or just a quick weekend getaway.
It's true. They're tools that can help you connect with that road trip spirit no matter where you go.
Exactly.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we?
We have. We've gone from the excitement of setting off to the satisfaction of reaching our destination.
We've seen how these phrases and idioms can make our conversations more vibrant and how they can help us remember those special moments long after the trip is over.
And most importantly, I think we've seen how road trip language reflects a deeper appreciation for adventure and spontaneity and that joy of discovering the unexpected.
So if you're planning a road trip anytime soon, or even if you're just dreaming of one, keep these phrases in mind.
Yes.
They'll not only help you communicate more effectively,
Right.
but they'll also enrich your whole experience.
Absolutely. And don't forget to download the keyword list from this episode. It's a great way to practice and refresh your memory.
And of course, be sure to subscribe to Talk Room for more deep dives into all sorts of fascinating topics. We've got some really exciting episodes coming up that we can't wait to share with you guys.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep talking.
See you on the next journey.